Hello everyone, my name is Shan Kumar and I'm here to share with you guys my paper slide which I've created, which will consist of reasons why the novel Frankenstein, written by Mary Shelley, is a great quality piece of literature. So before I get into the actual reasons, I'll give a rundown of a brief summary of the novel. So the novel is about a captain named Robert Walton who's on a dangerous voyage to the North Pole. He gets trapped by ice and then encounters a guy named Victor Frankenstein who comes aboard to get healed up and starts to share a story. He first shares his childhood and then his creation of the monster. He described that the monster he's created has caused so many problems for him, such as killing his younger brother William, his wife Elizabeth, and his old friend Heinrich. Victor describes that the monster even convinced him to create a myth for him, and while he was creating the myth, he has realized all the consequences which occur, so he destroys whatever he made, which causes the monster to enrage. He then describes how he got arrested for 2 months for a murder he hasn't committed, and then falls ill to realize that it was Henry who got murdered. He then mentioned he returned back to his hometown to get married to his love Elizabeth. Right when he got married, the monster has killed Elizabeth and the victor seriously seeks revenge. He tracks the monster on ice and chases him, and shortly after he ran into Walton. This is when Victor's story is finished and Walton told him to rest. Victor later dies and Walton sees the monster weeping over him and tells him about Victor's suffering and hatred. The monster also has decided to die, so he walks away northwest. So this was just a brief summary of the novel. Now I'll get into why this novel is a great quality piece of literature. Now there are many reasons why this masterpiece of a novel is a great quality piece of literature. However, there are just three main reasons, which are the critiques of the novel, the author's message of the story, and the Gothic-filled elements in the storyline. Firstly, this novel is a great quality piece of literature from the critiques it got. Now there are many different sources on the internet which have written reviews about the novel. A writer's name Lyle Pennell has given a thorough review on the novel and has stated how the novel has influenced his life. He has mentioned Frankenstein, one of our most familiar cultural icons, is synonymous with the misuse of science, a mad scientist stereotype, and of course a hideous and evil creature. Reading this anthology can be helpful in getting one's bearing and intellectually coming to the grips of his many meanings. It can also whet your appetite for taking these meanings to heart. This line, which he has mentioned, states his good opinion on the novel and also states how this novel can make people intelligent and can stimulate appetite for many meanings found in the novel. So in a nutshell, whatever Lyle has said is a critique on the novel which gives his opinion, cultural relations, and thoughts on the novel. Since his critique was recognized and thoroughly explained by just a normal writer, it just pretty much expresses that this is a great quality piece of literature. Furthermore, this novel is a great quality piece of literature from the author's message which was expressed. The author has expressed many messages throughout the novel, but there's one which sticks out the most, which is that men should not play as God. This statement is very relevant when Victor has done something which no human has done, which is bringing the dead back to life. The statement is also conveyed that we should never mess with nature of how life works. Victor has created a monster from body parts which exist. The story of God creating Adam is very similar. It is stated in the Bible that God has created Adam through parts which existed, and Victor has done the same with the monster. The structure of a human frame, and indeed any animal, endures with life. This quote from the novel explains that the idea has influenced Victor to make a monster. So in a nutshell, the main message of the story is that men should not play as God, and should never mess with the nature of life. Lastly, this novel is a great quality piece of literature from the Gothic-filled elements in the storyline. The author has used significantly amount of Gothic elements throughout the novel. The overall setting represents the Gothic elements, such as it taking place in the creepy places and mostly at night. The monster itself has expressed a lot of terror and is a big Gothic element in the novel. Events like when the monster killing Victor's younger brother, or even when the monster swears to get revenge on Victor for destroying his unfinished mate. Dreary Night of Remember. This quote from the novel explains the moment when the monster was born, and it's the first major horror moment in the novel. Overall, this novel is not about sunshine and a happy storyline. It is about people getting murdered and a few bodies joining together, causing problems for the main character, and overall leaving a fear feeling when reading. The way the Gothic elements are expressed definitely make this a great quality piece of literature. So, to wrap things up, Frankenstein, written by Mary Shelley, is a great quality piece of literature because of the critics it got, the author's message, and the Gothic feel elements. A suggestion I would make to make the story a bit more thrilling is to have the introduction with more horror. I personally found the beginning of the novel not that interesting, since there was no really big thrill to it. But if there was, it would make the novel definitely a lot better. So to sign things off, I would like to say, don't get influenced into making bad decisions because some can ruin your life. Thank you for listening to my paper slide. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed and have a good day.